If you're an artist or work in a creative field, you'll have almost certainly had times when your work just doesn't seem to flow like it used to. You know you need to create something, but every time you go to start a new piece, you find yourself staring at a blank canvas or sheet of paper with no idea what to put on it. It's like there's a big brick wall in the way and you can't see past it. Creative blocks can happen for a number of reasons, both psychological and physical. And if you're neurodivergent like me, it can be hard to tell the difference. So before you go running to an AI image generator, I'm going to give you 10 tips to help you get your creativity back on track. The first thing you need to do to get the creativity flowing again is to deal with any distractions. It's hard to be creative when your attention's being pulled in all different directions. Distractions can be both external and internal. The external distractions are the ones that get talked about most. That's things like social media, the live stream you've got on in the background, or the notifications you keep getting from the group chat. Outside noise is a big distraction for some people. I live on a boat which has very little soundproofing, so when things get a bit noisy outside, noise-cancelling headphones are a lifesaver. Internal distractions can be a little bit more tricky. For neurodivergent folks, interoception can be an issue, and we don't always pick up on the signals our bodies are sending us. So do a quick body scan and check if there's anything that's giving you discomfort. Are you too hot, too cold? Do you have any pain, or are you wearing something that's too tight or a label that's itchy? Are you hungry or thirsty? Do you need to drink some water? Are you anxious about something? Are your thoughts racing? Now, this is not medical advice, so if you're struggling to do anything that brings you joy and it's affecting your life on a larger scale, it's probably worth talking to a therapist or somebody you trust. But with that said, if there's something on your mind that you know you need to deal with, getting that out of the way first or talking to someone about it can make it a lot easier to relax and focus. Some people find meditation or grounding techniques helpful. Whatever works for you, calming your mind before you start working can make a huge difference to how you feel creatively. The space you're working in is another thing that can contribute to creative blocks, so my next tip is to change your environment. This can be as simple as changing the lighting. I live in Wales, which doesn't have the greatest daylight for most of the year, so I find a daylight lamp really helps. If the room feels stuffy, open a window or two. Make sure you have comfortable seating so you're not getting backache, and try and make your space inspiring. Have a good look around you, and I mean really look. Are you surrounded by empty cups and crisp packets? Try clearing the clutter and have a few things around you that make you feel creative. Light a candle maybe, or get a plant or two. If you're a crystal sort of person, then try keeping a few tumblestones on your desk that inspire you. Fragrance can help for some people, so you could try putting a couple of drops of essential oil in an oil burner or lighting some incense. Having music on in the background can be really helpful for some people, while others find it too distracting, so try with and without music and see which feels best for you. If your environment is all good, but you still can't get in the zone, my next tip is to get outside and go for a walk. You can't pour from an empty cup, and you can't be creative if you're not taking in anything that inspires you. If you can get close to nature, whether that's a local park or if you're lucky enough to live near a wild space, go for a wander and immerse yourself in it. Try and look at things with an artist's eye. Notice textures, shapes and colours and imagine how you'd recreate them. Study plants and insects and take a few reference photos. Watch the movement of the clouds and the wind in the trees. Think about how you could represent that movement in your art. If you're in a city or town, you could sit on a park bench or in a cafe and do some people watching. Notice how passers-by move and interact. Tell yourself stories about them and turn them into characters in your head. If you're not able to get outside, you can still get out of your own head by getting into a good book or an audiobook. It doesn't matter whether it's fiction or non-fiction. What's important is where it takes you mentally and emotionally. You might want to immerse yourself in another time period or culture, or even a fictional fantasy world. You could learn something about the mythology of the place you live, the lives of people you find inspiring, or whatever else catches your interest. Feeding your brain with new information gives it something to work with and turn into art. By the way, if you're finding these tips helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button, and you can also subscribe if you like so you don't miss the next one. Also, leave me a comment to let me know your top tips for dealing with creative block. If you've been working in the same medium for a while, things can start to feel a little bit stale, especially if it's something that used to sell well, but there just doesn't seem to be the same interest anymore. When you're turning out art that you feel is good, but you're just not getting any traction, it can make you feel frustrated, and over time you can find yourself in a big creative slump. People's tastes do change over time, and sometimes you need to shake things up a bit and look at your subject matter from a different perspective. If you've been working in a two-dimensional medium like watercolour or acrylics, why not try having a go at sculpture or needle felting? If you're a fibre artist, have a go at watercolour. It doesn't mean you have to give up everything you've worked for and start all over again, but trying to approach a subject in a different way with a new material can help you look at it through a new pair of eyes. You might find yourself noticing colours or detail that you didn't notice before, or find different ways of playing with light and shadow. Trying a new medium kind of resets your creativity, and you never know, you might find a new way of working that you take to like a duck to water. Which brings me to my next tip. Find some art tutorials to watch on YouTube. There's so much information out there now, absolutely free. When I started out, unless you were able to pay for a course at your local college, you were limited to learning from books. Instructions could be hard to understand, and if you had questions, it wasn't always easy to find an answer. Trying new things can be daunting, but these days, a quick search on YouTube is enough to find a video tutorial for most things. Even if you don't plan to change the medium you work in, seeing how other artists approach your work can be a real eye-opener. If there's a problem you thought you were stuck with forever and you've just been avoiding it or trying to work around it, sometimes another artist in your field will have a quick tip that solves your exact issue. Learning a technique to get past that one issue can be all it takes to kickstart an avalanche of new ideas. If you're struggling to come up with something brand new, my next tip is a great way to rebuild your confidence. Why not try taking what you've learned and observed and try recreating one of your older pieces and see how far you've come? Whether you realise it or not, your art style is constantly evolving as you grow both as an artist and a human being. When I look back on art I created even a year ago, I can see a big difference in the way I work. I know there are things I do very different now to the way I did them back then. So have a good look at a piece you created a couple of years ago and think, what would you like to change about it? What would you do differently now? And what would you still like to improve on? Maybe you created a drawing in black and white that you'd like to explore in colour. Maybe you've got better at drawing perspective or getting proportions right. I think comparing where you were a couple of years ago to where you are now as an artist can be a big confidence boost. That could be just what you need to get creating again. If inspiration still escapes you, my next tip for beating creative block is an unconventional one, but it can give some really interesting results. When you go to bed at night, keep a pen and notepad next to you and start a dream diary. Whatever your beliefs about dreams, they give us a fascinating insight into a part of ourselves that we're not aware of in our waking life. Dreams can be abstract and they may not make a lot of sense, but recording your dreams can open up a whole world of imagery, symbolism and storytelling that you can weave into your art. If you don't tend to remember your dreams, there's a trick that worked really well for me. As you lay in bed before you go to sleep, either say out loud or whisper to yourself, "I remember my dreams," and repeat it a few times. I know it sounds silly, but I found whenever I do this, when I wake up, I have a really vivid memory of at least something from my dreams. Then as soon as you wake up, jot down a few notes about your dream or draw a quick sketch before you forget it. You don't have to share art inspired by your dreams with anyone, it can just be for you. But it can be a really cool way of generating ideas and getting past that creative block. Something that can be a huge block to creativity, if you let it, is criticism from strangers online. This is something that doesn't really bother me anymore, but when I first started, it was a big sticking point. Those comments used to really get under my skin. So my next tip is block and delete. Other people don't see your vision. You know what you're aiming for better than anyone on the planet. So assuming you're creating your own original work and you're not stealing anyone else's intellectual property, you don't have to accept unsolicited advice from anyone, let alone a stranger who's never even met you. When you're new to sharing your art online, those mean comments can make you reluctant to try new things because you're worried about what people might say. The thing to remember is that it usually comes from people who've never even picked up a paintbrush. Sadly, some people just enjoy putting people down and they do it for fun. They're just hoping to get a reaction from you, so my advice would be don't give it to them. Unless you've requested feedback or it's constructive criticism from someone you trust. Delete, block and move on. Don't let snarky comments stop you from exploring and having fun with your art. If absolutely nothing is working and you're feeling burned out and can't find a shred of creativity within you, or your ideas are all jumbled up and you freeze every time you go to start a new piece, the next tip is probably the most important one. Sometimes to get past a creative block, you just need to take a complete break for a week or two. In the last couple of years, it seemed like AI is taking over. Artists can feel like they're under an enormous pressure to keep churning out work constantly just to compete. The truth is, you're a human being, not a computer or a factory. Your contribution to the art world is important. You have something unique to offer that can never be replicated by AI. But you can't be at your best 100% of the time if you never take time to recharge. So go do something completely different just for you, and don't feel guilty about it. Rest is absolutely vital. Rest consolidates everything you've learned through study and experience, and it gives your brain time to process it. I promise you, when you come back, your skills and your passion are still going to be there. And if you nurture yourself, you're going to create something amazing. If you're feeling stuck in a rut with your art and you need a push to try something new, there's a video here that might be just what you need. Go watch that one now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.